Would you please stand, join me in saying pledge allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, everyone. And everyone here today is Tuesday, March 10th, 2026, and this is the meeting of the Morrison County Board of Commissioners. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? We do not.
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lemire and a second by Commissioner Moran to approve the agenda as presented to us. Discussion, seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, we have an agenda. Gentlemen, next we have employee recognition. Mr. LeBlanc.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I'll invite Nicole and Blake to come up. This morning, it's a neat morning. We have bookends of careers. We've got two employees to recognize. One who's just kicking off their career here at Morrison County and one drawn to conclusion. But Nicole, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, sir.
I have for you today to introduce Blake Swanson. He's our newest employee in the Community Corrections Office. He is a corrections agent. He's been here for 1 week and he is doing wonderful. He is soaking up a bunch of knowledge and we're very happy to have him. Blake actually has Morrison County roots that I wasn't even aware of when we hired him. But so we're learning a lot about him.
Very grateful to be here and appreciate the opportunity. So thank you.
Fantastic.
You put in a lot of years here, okay?
Yes.
Blake, were you a wrestler?
No, it was not. Came from Andover, so baseball.
Baseball.
He likes to shoot trap too, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, you know, when I seen him sitting out there, I thought maybe Nicole brought somebody from the U.S. Olympic hockey.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would have.
You got some pipes on you, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and we appreciate you being here. We look forward to having you as a long-term member of our family. The work that you do in the Coles department is extremely important to us. It's extremely important to the people of Morrison County. So welcome. Don't be a stranger. Come and see us. Okay.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blake. God bless you.
And as promised, Mr. Chair, we have one other recognition this morning, so I'd invite Tony and Bruce to come up, please. Thanks, Mr.
Morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. We have Bruce Rexted with us this morning. He came in, actually drove his plow truck right to the government center this morning. But after a nice tenure with Morrison County, Bruce is retiring on the 20th of March. Well-deserved retirement. And one of the things we think about Bruce is he's very dependable. If his name's not on the sheet for PTO, he'll be here and he'll get the job done. He's worked in all of our maintenance departments. Anything from our regular operations to some of our specialty work, all the stripping, working with seasonals, obviously doing the plowing. So we've been very grateful to have him start full time with us in 14, and then a seasonal prior to that. So just a wonderful way to cap his career. We've been very, very grateful to have him inside of our department.
Awesome. Thanks, Tony.
And Bruce, Mr. Chair, thank you for the opportunity on behalf of Morrison County. I want to thank you for your almost 12 years of service with us here in full-time role. Appreciate that dependability. And he's a fixture. You go over to Public Works and if the guys are around, Bruce is there too. One of our quiet professionals, at least when I'm around, maybe yucks it up when I'm gone, but he, right down to the end here, we got just over a week left with Bruce. And I had him up probably at 3:30 this morning and on the roads at 4:30, keeping our transit system safe for our residents. And running it right to the end. So Bruce, thank you for that. We want to wish you the best of luck. You've earned this time of retirement and entering this next chapter and you deserve it. You're going to keep the pumpkin patch going? Yes. Okay, so he'll be busy with the pumpkin patch. So if you're looking for a jack-o'-lantern next fall, maybe stop by and visit Bruce. But on behalf of Morrison County, I want to present you a very small token of appreciation. It's a print of our historical courthouse. It says, thank you for your dedication, service, and for making Morrison County a place that our residents are proud to call home. You will be missed. It's signed by our 5 county commissioners, Bruce Rexted, 2014-2026. Thank you very much, Bruce.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You bet. We'll go with Mr. Chair, and then we'll turn over to Bruce to be there and say at the end. Mr. Chair.
Gentlemen, Commissioner Lemire.
Well, congratulations, Bruce. I've known you a long time and you've been a great guy. You're one of a kind. We served on Murphy Ambulance together a long, long time ago. I can't believe we're retiring. But I guess it's time and then it happens and you will be missed, but more importantly, enjoy your retirement.
Gentlemen, Commissioner Casper.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bruce, this is a deal. If it's gonna keep snowing, you can't leave.
Oh, you gotta be.
You better talk to old man
Still
Quinn.
fighting.
Underneath are always good.
Yeah, congratulations. You enjoy yourself. Happy pumpkining. Bruce, for me, it's always a love date. I hate to see people go that, are really involved in our county and you in public works and that sort of, but you're gonna love your time off.
Yeah, Mr. Rexted, it's been a huge benefit to Morrison County, not only our family, but to the residents, that you've been a part of our team. And, we don't always see all the guys from, Public Works, because we don't always get into the building over there, but, you have set the bar very high and, we really appreciate all your work and as been said, enjoy that time now, that next chapter of your life. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bruce, anything you'd like to say?
Just appreciate the opportunity to be here. 48 years of working, it's time to give it up. So do some other things, that away, more important things for family and stuff. So appreciate the time here.
Yep.
Thanks, boss.
Very good. Thank you.
I got a photo with you, and what did Bruce?
You got a minute? And then Bobby and John, come on up. We'll get them next thing.
Yeah.
In summer here, yeah. And up there, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All the this morning.
It's a lot of ice out there,
Yeah.
especially Southwest. Definitely.
And my partners are coming out.
There's some of the nicest guys I've worked for.
I have to say that, so we can have left. It's enough time.
You guys.
You guys stay safe out there.
We will. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't be straight. Hey, Mr. Chair, that concludes our employee recognition.
Gentlemen, next on the agenda, we have our consent agenda. I have to ask, if there is anyone who'd like to have anything pulled for the discussion.
Make the motion approved since agenda is listed.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lemire.
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Winchell to approve the consent agenda. Discussion, Commissioner Casper.
Yeah, just a simple question. I see that on page 7, and I think it's just a misprint. It says that Minnesota Power was paid $15,886 for natural gas. And I don't know that they sell natural gas. So I'm not sure. It's not a big deal. It's just a typo, I'm sure.
Am I on the right page, Commissioner?
Oh, shucks, I forget which. Has a-
6.
It's under utility payments. Again, I'm just guessing, Mr. Chair. Does that have something to do with the assessment? that we got to pay back? No, it's payment to. Right, because we had us, I don't know. Yeah.
I guess I do this, I do this.
And that could just be checked
I'm on
out
the
later.
minutes from
It's just a typo, I'm sure.
Commissioner Casper, what we'll do is, we'll ask for clarification, on that from staff.
Yeah. I apologize.
No, yep, good catch, you're doing your work. We'll dig into that. We see if we can find an answer for Commissioner Casper, or a clarifying answer on that.
Mr. Chair, do you want to pull, approve warrants and see if we can address it at the end, or do you want to approve it with follow-up?
Just approve with follow-up.
Okay.
Further discussion. Further discussion. Seeing no further discussion, gentlemen, this is a roll call. Commissioner Moran. Aye. Commissioner Winchard.
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. All those voting in the affirmative, the consent agenda is passed. Thank you, gentlemen. Next on the agenda, gentlemen, we have Camp Ripley here to meet with us. Gentlemen, please come forward.
Good morning, good to see you all again.
Nice to see you.
I'm just gonna leave, the camp, or not the Camp Ripley, but the Minnesota National Guard, annual report, with the county commissioner. How you doing, Matthew? So. And that's just for you guys to have on file, look through, whatever, there's a lot of data in there as a reference to a lot of the units and a lot of activities, across the Minnesota Army National Guard. So this morning, again, I don't have, I mean, this is pretty much, rinse and repeat for us a lot of times in terms of what we present to the county.
Excuse me, Colonel Fink, if I could I have you, state your name for the tape?
Absolutely. My name is Troy Fink. I am the garrison commander of Camp Ripley.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Please proceed.
Going through the slides, obviously our Camp Ripley mission hasn't changed. It has remained the same. We really focus on the positive community aspect of what we do, being good neighbors, across the counties that we border. Obviously Morrison County being one of those counties. Moving through some of the leadership, there has been some small changes as it relates to the Minnesota National Guard. We now have a new CSEL, Command Senior Enlisted Leader. That is Command Sergeant Major Jason Ross. He has now replaced Lisa Erickson as the CSEL with Major General Sean Mankey as the Adjutant General. Moving into our division, both of these individuals have swapped out. We have changed out from Major General Kemper to Brigadier General Joe Sharkey, and his Command Sergeant Major was Matthew Erickson, Command Sergeant Major Matthew Erickson, and is now Mark Dempsey, CSM Mark Dempsey at the division. And then at Camp Ripley, obviously I'm still the garrison commander. And then we had just recently, this last weekend, did a change of responsibility with Command Sergeant Major Ryan Hofstad and Command Sergeant Major Chad Turner, which I have with me today in the room. So we're excited about that change. You guys will see a change next year. I'll end up retiring and moving on. And then my replacement is yet to be determined. That should happen sometime this spring, I think. So moving on to the economic impact. Again, here we're looking at about $137 million economic impact to the area around Camp Ripley. Some of the numbers have dramatically changed since last year, and that really falls within the construction realm of where we did about 21.2 million last year. We're sitting right around that 60 million mark in 2025. A lot of the other numbers have kind of remained the same for the most part. As you can imagine, payroll, we haven't really changed the payroll all that much. And then the training piece, I will articulate under the education. That is a statewide. We have not yet delved out just Camp Ripley's training dollars. So that will be updated as we move forward, but we just hadn't had the right folks doing the number crunching for us there. So, but just so you have an understanding, and then obviously Camp Ripley is still right around the 800 to 1,000 employees. We surge obviously during the summertime. And with all of and we'll get into that schedule as we go through the slides, which is probably the meat and potatoes of really this brief and update to the county. We have not changed. We're still in the same location. We still have the same 18 miles of the Mississippi River. We still are bordered by 3 counties. And we are still approximately the same size in terms of training space. We do remain as a level 2 training center across the nation, and I'll talk a little bit about that on another slide as we get there. But we are looking to advance some of our ranges. We are doing some modifications in terms of our live fire. Some of the qualification standards are changing, so we are updating some of the range qualifications and the actual construct of the ranges. So some of the accomplishments, again, here is where I kind of want to hit the second bullet. So Camp Ripley has become the second heaviest used National Guard training center across the entire nation. In 2024, we were third. In 2025, we were second. Who knows what 2026 will bring, but we hope to be very competitive in regards to that. Moving on to some of the construction updates. Again, we constantly try to renovate. As you can see, the construction dollars going from 21 million to 60 million. There is a number of projects that are ongoing at Camp Ripley. So anytime that you're ever on Camp Ripley and visiting or doing some business, you can always see something going on. There's a construction site here, there's a construction site there. And that's a good thing for us and our soldiers and airmen that train at Camp Ripley. The museum update, we're getting obviously a lot closer to opening the doors to the new museum. So that has been on schedule. Right now, they are planning to do potentially talking to Randall Dietrich, maybe kind of a soft opening, invite only, sometime in July. And then September will be the actual grand opening of the museum. So we're pretty excited to get that opened up and have the public go see those things. Moving into the 2026 scheduled training events. Again, this is the meat and potatoes. Everybody's kind of, always concerned about when we're going to be making the most noise and different things. But I will tell you the months of April, May, and June, when we have artillery coming through Camp Ripley, that's probably going to be our noisiest time during Camp Ripley. Not that it gets much quieter after that, because in July, August, and September, we're going to have a bunch of Tank and Bradley tables going on as well. And they do have a tendency to make a little bit of noise themselves. Not as much as artillery, but we do have a very busy schedule, and we're looking forward to a really good, safe summer at Camp Ripley. Prescribed burns, again, we will make sure that we communicate to the community in the surrounding area, whether it's radio, social media, on when we plan to do these things. We are going to try to tackle about 15,000 acres this year and get some of that stuff. And it really just helps everything in terms of the military training aspect, in terms of some of the environmental concerns across our 53,000 acres. So we'll be looking for those notices. Community outreach, again, we pretty much do a lot of these things year over year. We're proud to do them. We look forward to doing them. So just being out in the community, helping, supporting our neighbors is important to us. Our environmental program, again, this is, these guys are award winning. I brag about these guys, every time I can. You can kind of see their partnerships on the top left, all of the awards that they have won over the last 10 years, in the top right of the slide. And then some of the different things that, initiatives that the team is doing on the conservation side as it relates to whether it be endangered species, whether it be just wildlife in general, and then obviously the forest management and the land management of Camp Ripley itself. And then obviously the REPI program, formerly known as ACUB. The next slide really kind of depicts kind of where we have coordinated with landowners to enroll those acres into the REPI program. We're just over about 40,000 acres in the program currently today, and we continue to seek willing landowners that are wanting to engage with us on that program. So it is a good program that really helps a lot of the standoff of Camp Ripley in terms of the noise and different things that occur on the training base. State partnerships, obviously, again, this hasn't changed. Year over year, we still partner with the DNR, the State Patrol, Homeland Security, and the Minnesota Department of Transportation. We do have the DNR and the State Patrol have permanent offices on Camp Ripley. HSEM has recently moved off of Camp Ripley, but we still engage on a regular basis with those folks. And then obviously with the Minnesota DOT does their driver's training, State Patrol and DNR do their academies on base, which is a really good partnership for us. Support to civil authorities, as you're aware, this process has not changed in terms of how do you get the National Guard to support your community. Again, we found ourselves in some civil unrest, domestic operations up in Minneapolis, again here this winter, in terms of some of the riots and different things that occurred. So we are always ready to support our communities in whatever situation we find ourselves in. But that process has not changed. Soldier and family programs, again, if there are veterans, service members in your community that are suffering, have issues, have them please reach out to these folks on this slide. There are a plethora of resources available to all those veterans and service members and their family members to take advantage of. Unexploded ordnance, again, we have recently had the 148th EOD team come out of Duluth, report to Crow Wing County in terms of an EOD situation. An individual had found a hand grenade, so that they called and we deployed the 148th EOD team in Crow Wing County to take care of that matter. So it does happen. There are situations where, you know, we have found that grandpa from World War II or maybe even the Vietnam War brought home a war trophy maybe, and then grandkids happen to find it and go through their things. So it does happen. If you're on Camp Ripley, obviously, I ask you to contact our range control or our Department of Public Safety, and we'll take care of those things on Camp Ripley. But if it's off of Camp Ripley, please call 911 and have the appropriate authorities take care of those things. And subject to any questions or discussion with the commissioners, that is my update to you today.
Colonel Fink, thank you. Gentlemen, questions, comments? Commissioner
As
Winter?
always, I appreciate you being here, serving our country and all that. So again, thank you. Great update. Couldn't ask for better information. Thank you.
Welcome.
Gentlemen, Commissioner Castro?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colonel Fink, and to the rest of your squadron, thank you so much for serving. As Commissioner Wincher has said, you guys are heroes in our eyes. Thank you for being there in the midst of difficulties. We'll greatly appreciate what you do. Keep up the good work.
Colonel, I just want to mention a couple of things. Number one, I don't want you or any of your staff here to leave here without having that understanding that this board understands the importance of Camp Ripley as our neighbor and resident in Morrison County. Every one of us knows or has either relatives or neighbors or friends who drive through the gates at Ripley every day because they're employed there. 800 to 1,000 employees. $138 million economic impact to Morrison County. When we as commissioners get to talk to fellow commissioners from other counties, they share with us, they kill for their county to be able to house Camp Ripley because of that impact, not only fiscally, but I think that patriotic attitude that resonates from Camp Ripley, from its employees, and to all the people in the county. I want to say thank you for welcoming not only the county board, but also the partnership with Soil and Water and the Water Festival. We get this county board gets to come out and traipse around a little bit there at the environmental center and that for that day with the students of the county. And I appreciate Camp Ripley's commitment to the youth in that way. So it is certainly a tremendous pleasure for us to have you here with us. And Colonel, at this time, certainly before we let you guys go, on behalf of the rest of the county board, Mr. LeBlanc and Morrison County, I'd like to take this time to congratulate Command Sergeant Major Chad Turner on your promotion. We look forward to extending our relationship with you and with all of leadership at Camp Ripley moving forward. So Command Sergeant Major Turner, congratulations on your Colonel, that's all we have for you. We thank you and your staff for taking the time to be with us today.
Appreciate it, Commissioner, and
Thank you.
appreciate everyone's time. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you folks.
Gentlemen, next on the agenda, we have the Health and Human Services report. Morning, Mr. Bertram.
Morning, Mr. Chair.
And Melanie, if you'll state your names for the tape this morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Melanie Erickson, Supervisor, Health and Human Services for Child and Family Services.
And I'm Nathan Bertram, Health and Human Services Director. I think I'm gonna ask, can we do the other one first, so Melanie and Shannon can move on with their day, and then I'll stick around. We'll do the caseworks and Sourcewell grants second, if that's all right with the board.
That would be fine with me Can we tee that up correctly? Here we go.
So backing up and starting at the very beginning, for 2024, we applied for a Sauer Family Foundation grant in the amount of $223,000. This was to do an explore and assess phase of the entire 5-county region, including Morrison County. And so when we received that grant, we RFP'd out into the community, and Consulting Perks was chosen as our vendor, just finishing up St. Louis County's explore and assess phase for the same purpose. We're winding down and getting close to the end, so this report is to recap that. Also, I sent you the link if you want to look at the paper versions of the reports. I do have a couple copies of those if you prefer that method. And so really today is just kind of about telling you some of the findings. The full findings are in the report and in our next steps.
Fantastic. Now,
All right, well, want to just talk about and recap what the basics of a community or family resource center is again. The Family Resource Center has a community navigator. Navigator is a person, so you get in-person referral services, and that is come to be a very important request for Region 5 citizens, that they want somebody, not just a computer, but an actual person they can talk to and see and meet with that helps them connect with the services and referrals they need. The Community Resource Center is free. There's no cost to persons who come in. Typically, most centers that are successful are not run by a county or a county administrator, although there are a few of those in the state. The majority of them are not administrated by the county. That is focusing on caregivers, which could be parents, but also other adult caregivers in the community and not just families. A lot of family-based activities are a key component. The draw is that they are a fun, exciting, and interesting place to be, not just about needing services or needing help, but also building those social connections. Most successful resource centers have a family advisory board, so community members serve on that board and recommend the activities and needs to the administrative entity that runs the center. The National Family Support Network has a standards of quality, and that's a very important piece to this as we look ahead to development. If you follow the national standards of quality, odds are your return on investment is going to be much greater. So there's some key pillars to pay attention to, and of course they support all 5 protective factors, which I'll go into in a bit. So next slide talks about the research that has been done so far on community resource centers and what kind of impact they have. And they have a 63% decrease on child abuse cases, 50% decrease on out-of-home placements, and 26% decrease on child abuse investigations. So some real impact on families when those services and supports are present. That has come from national research that as we'll talk about later, these resource centers exist throughout the United States. This goes into specifically what those 5 protective factors are. Social emotional competence. So really focusing on those relationships that are built between parents, caregivers, and the children or the persons they're caring for, as well as social connections, that you can build those connections and support with each other as you come to the resource center to activities. Knowledge of parenting and child development is also an important piece, so that there's, especially as kids get older, sometimes it's a challenge to know how to appropriately parent or how to intervene, especially these days with all the new technology and social media. It's important more than ever to have access to that kind of information. Resilience is also a protective factor, that those supports and those connections help caregivers kind of be able to rejuvenate and be able to meet the needs of their families. And then also concrete supports. A lot of requests for food, diapers, transportation, housing, a lot of those concrete supports. When you address some of those basic needs for families, then they can attend much better to the emotional and developmental needs of their children.
So as Melanie was talking, and kind of in reference to slide 3, there's been an exponential growth of family resource centers in the nation as well as the state in the last several years. And most of that is because they've proven to be cost effective and then produced results. Again, they're parent led. And in discussing with Maxa and some of the counterparts across the state, there's belief that investing in some of these community resources will help mitigate some of the impact of MAFBA, some of the delinquency change, and some of the other mandates being pushed by the state. And so this is a way to be preventative and support our families at the local level. Roughly, there's about 40 counties out of the 87 Minnesota counties who are either in the assess phase or they're in the implementation phase. And I'll just note Region 5 and Morrison County and Sourcewell got the opportunity to do the first annual family resource conference this fall. And so looking forward to doing that again for a second year, and we will be hosting that again out of Sourcewell.
So specific Morrison County data that came out of our community needs assessment done by Consulting Perks. It reflects, of course, our maltreatment data. Most maltreatment cases are a result of neglect. And then secondly, most physical abuse. And if you think about those protective factors I just discussed, a lot of that can be addressed through a family resource center. That doesn't mean that would make it go away, but when you have access to supports and concrete supports and resiliency supports, you're much less likely to find yourself in a situation where children might experience neglect or physical abuse. The other component that came out in Morrison County data was that Morrison County has a large number of youth that are dealing with a disability. Parents and caregivers are trying to parent kids with disability and the challenges and the questions that come along with that. And that there's been a large request from Morrison County residents to have the Community Resource Center support and offer support groups and education for parenting kids with disability services. And we do have a high number of kids that are in out-of-home placement because of a disability. So again, we would be hopeful that we could impact that number to some degree. Morrison County data, again, reflecting our family households and their income. ALICE household, I just want to explain what that is. It's asset limited, income constrained, and employed. So those are parents that are working full-time, they're employed, but yet they have limited ability to have room in their budget to address some of the needs that come along, especially with transportation or food costs and childcare and all those pressures. And so when you look at a community resource center, those ALICE households are important. Households that live in poverty sometimes do qualify for financial assistance. And so they may have access to some of those supports right now through Morrison County. But families that are asset limited, income constrained, and employed sometimes don't meet the eligibility requirements for those additional programs. And that's where a community resource center can step in and kind of fill in those gaps to support those families. Again, specific information that came out from our assessment that we did with Consulting Perks is that our access to nutritious food is lower than the state average. And I've seen that with just our nonprofit here at Morrison County Family Connections. We have given so much support recently for food. whether it's through the clinic or through food backpack programs. Families here in Morrison County are in need of assistance with accessing food. And then about half of our residents said right now they're not sure where to go for support. And so again, going back to that resource center and that idea of a navigator and a person, knowing that they'd have somebody to connect with, I think could be a good support for our residents. Most lengthy out-of-home placement are due to child disability. And again, like I said, that's something that we'd like to impact with additional supports for parents and families through a community resource center. And then it's just really important when you look at Region 5 and specifically Morrison County that most of our residents are in the outer regions of our county, and many of them do not have access to transportation on a reliable, in a reliable method. Maybe their car isn't reliable, maybe gas prices are difficult for them, or just maybe they are not able to drive because of other circumstances. And so when we look at developing or supporting a community resource center, we have to be mindful of that, and that we may have to have a mobile component to that or provide support for transportation. Specifically, when it comes to the protective factors, Morrison County residents really did focus on wanting social emotional learning opportunities for youth 0 to 5. So early childhood does have a strong presence in Morrison County. However, transportation again limits that, and also work schedules, because we know that schools do offer some early childhood programming. However, it can be difficult for families to attend to that. So more opportunities for those early childhood groups and those play groups would be appreciated. Knowledge of parenting and child development. Residents are asking for specifically information about how to parent school age youth. Parenting tactics for, younger children, and some of that is readily available. But when, like I said, when you get into the complexities of social media, computer time and screen time, parents are really asking for a lot more information and guidance on that. Resiliency. Parents and caregivers have told us that they want support beyond crisis. Morrison County residents said that, when things are in crisis, they do get help. It's just that feels pretty short-lived to them. And so something that gets them through the crisis and beyond that, and that kind of sticks around and checks in with them later, is something that they would appreciate. Again, we talked about concrete supports, food, transportation, diapers is something that residents are seeking, as well as those integrated community social groups, those opportunities for free family events. Youth did describe in our assessment that they are dealing with much depression, anxiety, cyberbullying concerns in Morrison County. We've talked about this previously. I supervise children's mental health, that some of the innovations in social media has really created some difficulties for some of our youth, for sure. Caregivers are asking for help with teachable moments, social emotional learning, and the family time, and those events like I discussed, and opportunities for their disabled children to get together and caregivers of those disabled children. They, again, really wanting access to free, low-cost, fun events, something they can bring their kids to that doesn't impact their financial status and isn't exclusive based on financial status, but would bring all community members together.
So I think the community spoke, and I think I said way at the beginning of this in 2024, this is not meant to be a Morrison County led program. Are we partners at the table? Yes, but this is supposed to be parent led, community driven response system, and really builds to builds on our nonprofits that are in the community now. Arrows Family Services has been at all the strategic planning. I do want to take just a moment to introduce Shannon Wagner, who's the back there, just in case we have questions later from Arrow Family Services. And really, a community navigator, employed by the Community Resource Center is where some of these needs will be met and some of the work on the ground will be done. Activities and events should be two-generational approach. And so that's really where you look at the parents and the children as one family unit. Often in our state services, it's kind of one or the other, and the programs aren't set up to do a nice wraparound job all the time. And so the model really looks at doing two-generational approach and how do you support the whole family unit at one time. And then, hub and spoke model service and delivery. So there's bricks and mortar family resource centers. That's kind of your typical building. People come, people go. And then there's kind of a hub and spoke model. So bricks and mortar, I think in this assessment have kind of been identified as working well for some of the population hubs, such as Brainerd, potentially Little Falls. Whereas the hub and spoke model is really about having kind of a fixed schedule and being in one community at a specific day of the week. So it might be in Royalton for Wednesdays, and it might be in Piers on Thursdays, and it might be in Uppsala on Friday, or whatever that schedule might be. I'm just kind of throwing out a schedule. There was some there was support, I guess, at the strategic planning of that, and just some of the other county partners and nonprofit partners wanting to partner together to figure out how to do that a little bit more regionally. So it's not just restricted to communities in one county. Again, some of these things are still being worked on and developed as we speak here today. And I referenced the Parent Advisory Committee again. That is one of the core components of these. It's led by parents, so parents can share what they're needing, what they're seeing in the community, and then putting that into action at the Family Resource Center. Next steps and kind of where we're at. So we have to do a final report this hour just about the overall report, how the dollars were spent, etc. We do have one more training here in March with the 5-county region. And so that's looking to be done here towards the end of March. My assumption is we'll have our reports and this grant will be wrapped up in the early part of April. Right now, there's roughly 27,000 left of the dollars that we received at the beginning of the grant. And then we'll just continue to work with Strategic Planning Committee. This is kind of the part where the 5 counties break up and they all kind of focus on some of their own stuff. And so Melanie and Shannon with Arrows will be working together on kind of what that looks like in our community. And then that last bullet, so this is an update since when this report was done. Melanie was in a meeting on Friday talking with Sauer Family. Again, they're looking to get out of the philanthropic. It's a hard word sometimes. A line of business. So they're looking to wrap up all their final grants by this summer. And so there's some opportunity to apply for one of those to help us implement in this area. The update that I wanted to give is that they're no longer requiring counties to be fiscal host. So nonprofits can apply for themselves. And so would we be a supportive partner and a letter of support for any potential grant application? Yes, but we're not required to play the middleman or be the fiscal host anymore. So that's nice. And really our goal and our intent is to try to develop a family resource center in Morrison County, whether that be hub and spoke or brick and mortar with some hub and spoke off of that. And I think it's a proactive, preventative way to continue to look at some of the neglect and child abuse in our communities and hopefully be able to offer supports to families and reduce those in the long term. And with that, we'll open it up for questions.
Commissioners, discussion. Commissioner Winchester.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, I looked at this data yesterday and what you have here, and again, it's great information. I just, with this grant and that sort of, I sit on the extension. And when you're talking about needing, resources free or minimal cost by family. But these 4-H groups, they got a lot of stuff available. And I'm personally looking at that, and I've been since I was behind those grasshopper. But is it the parents that, do not want to take their child to this? Or they want, I don't know if they want just everything given to them and you help them out. I have no idea, but there's so many resources out there that are free or minimal. But, according to this, that's a request that they're having.
Right.
It's like,
Right, because they're just not aware. Sometimes families that, especially talking about those Alice families, right? They're so busy working, meeting the needs, getting through the day to day that they don't have the time to really look into, yes, I know I need to look into 4-H. Let me get through the backpack. I got to pack for lunch, I got to get groceries, got to get laundry done. Blah, 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 blah. And so they just maybe don't have time or aren't aware of that. That's where that community resource center and that navigator comes in, because they're like, hey, do you know about 4-H? Well, on Wednesday, the 4-H person is going to be here in person and explain all this to you. And so part of the draw too is that it's a one-stop shop, so that maybe our financial team, maybe Northern Pines, maybe 4-H, all has days where they come into the Community Resource Center and are present. So that families don't have to go door to door. They just have to walk in one door and they can have access to that.
Makes a lot of sense. And another one I was looking at, if I may, Mr. Chair,
You may.
the access to nutritious foods. I know somebody that works at the food shelf talked to me here probably 4 days ago that they're overflowing at the seams of food.
Mhm.
And they're trying to get rid of it because I don't know if it's got expiration on it. So again, is this a lack of knowledge that hey, we can go to the food shelf? Because I believe they don't even look at your income there. Maybe they should, but they don't. So it's just like I say, maybe this resource center is something that we have in the county. We do have so many things available for people who need. I'm just kind of bewildered.
One of the cool partnerships that has existed in some other community resource centers is because the food shelf's not open all the time, is that the food shelf will partner with the community resource center to have a food pantry that's always available there. So if parents are coming in for their let's say their play group on a Tuesday night, when the food shelf isn't open, that the food shelf will have their food at the community resource center and they can pick it up. So it actually helps the turnover of food at the food shelf. Because the community resource center isn't really made to replace the already existing supports. It's really works with those supports and improves access. I know one of the things from working on transportation for quite some time now, because it's such a big problem, is that sometimes our outer residents can't get transportation into the food shelf. And that's been a problem too. So they're just like, so if we had a mobile family resource center, and it's one of the other models looked at. So when the mobile resource center goes out, let's say to Royalton, they also bring part of the food shelf stash of extra food along to distribute. So there's just a lot of partnering that can happen.
A lot of tentacles up there.
Mhm.
That's like, yeah. All right, thank you for that.
Mhm.
Mr. Chair, if I may just add to that.
Mr. Bertrand.
Our community food shelves have been great to work with. We work closely with them on the public health side as well. And another part that comes up a lot is this kind of stigma about going to the food shelves. And so that's also a hurdle for some families. So if it's at a community resource or family resource center, sometimes that's a little bit easier for them to stomach and work through that as well. So it just provides one more opportunity for them to have access to resources.
Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Commissioner Lemire.
Yeah, I just wanted to point to one of these comments here. 48% of the residents surveyed state they don't not know where to go for support. So that's probably part of that problem too. And if those individuals from in the Alice group, if they're 65% of them are out in rural areas. So transportation, 20% of them have transportation issues. And as we've seen from the past, transportation has always been a problem it seems like we could get the volunteers, but with all the state mandates put on upon them, they don't want to go through all that, them hurdles to volunteer their time. And, that's one thing I wish the state would get, fixed for these individuals. Another one of these statistics here that I find alarming is 30% nutritious food is lower than in the state average. But hopefully those 30% are in that 48% of residents, and then this center can assist those individuals on getting them some nutritious food and knowing where to get this. So, thank you, Melanie. Thank you for doing this.
Further comments? Melanie, and Nate, I want to commend you, Melanie, especially your commitment to children and families in Morrison County has been, that's been your calling card and your MO, and we probably don't share our appreciation for you enough in that sense. We look at some of the data that you shared with us and the reduction in out-of-home placement, which becomes a direct cost to the county, to the taxpayers of the county. As helpful as this program is in reducing some of those numbers and costs, I think that I don't want to look at this from a fiscal lens. We just cannot accept having children within our county who experience neglect, who experience abuse or a threatening environment. And so we have to look at opportunities like these to create a better environment for the children and for their families, and have those resources there for young parents who maybe are struggling with that transition in their life. So I applaud you for your work and for the impact from this program, but I do go to the point that my colleague Commissioner Lemire mentions that 48% in a survey where almost half of people don't know where to go to get help. Then we're now having people living in a state of futility because they don't know. And so I'm going to ask you a rhetorical question, but what are we doing then, or do we need to change strategy about how we communicate with the public on addressing this? That 48% is, to me, is a staggering and a sobering number. And so I would say maybe we have to look at changing our strategy to communication. And I don't have the answer for that. And I'm not claiming to be the keeper of all knowledge, but I think that's a sign that tells us that we also have work to do from our end on the administrative side. So, but I appreciate the presentation and the work that you do. But it also tells us we have a lot of work in front of us too.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes.
I think for some folks, and we've seen this, there's a great discussion about isolation and people feeling isolated. And I think that's part of where that stems from, lacking some connections and some community, that feeling of community or experience that used to be more present and in our lives when we were younger, perhaps. Also, I know for some folks, they really aren't feeling comfortable with coming to government for support. that's their own feelings, and not that there's anything wrong with government. It's just that that sense of self-reliance and wanting to find a different way to support their needs besides government. So those are all the things I think about when I think about that number. And I think that's part of the reason why Community Resource Center, that's apart from government or apart from school, apart from church. Even though all of those things are very important things in a community, having something that's independent may help reduce barriers for outreach, because some of those messages that folks have in their mind don't exist when it's an independent resource. I do also, if I may take a moment to recognize that Arrows Family Services and Shannon have already done a lot of training with the National Family Standards and have already put in some work with the Parent Advisory Committee. And the Parent Advisory Committee, I think, addresses some of the concerns also that you have addressed, Mr. Chair, because you're hearing directly from our community members about what they see as important for messaging and outreach. And so for us as a government, we may also get information from Arrows and the Community Resource Center that help us address our outreach in a better method.
Yeah, this is going to probably show a little bit of my ignorance to all of this. And we're here to learn, to try and help, but to me, it almost seems ironic that we have challenges with helping our youth navigate through communication through things like this and tablets and everything else, and that impact of communication is great, but yet we still have significant challenges in communicating with adults who are trying to find or at least have that exposure to some resources out there. So, and I please don't take that. I'm not being critical. I'm just like, so is there a correlation? Is there an opportunity to thread these things to our advantage, and I'm not sure. I also want to recognize Shannon's presence here, and Shannon, if you would have anything that you would like to share with us, you're free to come and join us at the table there. And while she's doing that, I'm going to go to Commissioner Casper, the GS Commissioner.
Please, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, Melanie, question. Is it a lot of single parent families that are in this turmoil? There's a mother raising children. She's working full time and can't get her head above water.
I'm not certain on that specific stat. I know it's in there, yeah. And the numbers that I pulled are a conglomerate of, but asset limited, income constrained is not just limited to single parents. I do know that is true. And we can follow up specifically with that number. I apologize for that.
No, that's no problem. Mr. Chair, one more question.
You're very welcome to have that.
Thank you. Just another question is it possible that through social media, some of these programs ought to be forwarded so people see the availability? Maybe use that as a network, as Commissioner Wincher has said, one of those tentacles to reach out to inform people of the possibilities.
Oh, I think social media can be useful in that method, and I would turn to Shannon because she's probably more versed in that than I am.
So I think a lot of it when we're discussing the availability to all these resources is the lack of relationship. So I don't know if many of you are familiar. We do have the nonprofit here, and we provide parent education and we provide supervised visits, and we work with family court and truancy court and some of these other entities within your county. And it really does come down to relationship with these families because they are so filled with shame and guilt about their situation. They don't want to reach out to the school where maybe they don't have a good relationship with some of the teachers or some of the staff. That's a barrier. if they don't have a good relationship, maybe they don't even know 4-H exists because that's not an experience they've ever had in their lifetime. So a lot of it is relationship building. And that is kind of where the Community Resource Center comes in. When we start offering, so our agency, we have a grant through the Minnesota Department of Health. And so last year we held a Pine Grove Zoo Day. We had over 200 members of your community show up that day. And we fed them the box lunch, whatever was left over, we let families take home so that we made sure that those kiddos still had maybe supper or something later that day. And it was just an incredible opportunity to meet members of the community, but also just kind of get that social connection, build those relationships, and breathe life into them, that there are other entities in the community that want them to be seen and to be successful. And so it was just an awesome day for them to have all of that. So it's those kinds of things that our Community Resource Center would continue to do, is really that relationship building in whatever capacity.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Shannon. That's important for us to know too. Further discussion, gentlemen, anything else?
Mr. Chair,
Mr.
let's
Bertram,
find the stats if you're, so single mothers or families, single mother families, it's fruit fly. Bugging me here. 8% in Morrison County, and then single father families are 5%. So, and it does vary a little bit, community, that's broken down in here
Okay,
as well, so.
it's lower numbers than expected.
Yeah. And I guess I will say, if you go to the link I sent you in the email previously, you can pull the whole 5 county assessments that you could compare to other counties or communities roughly the same size if you wanted to as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
you're welcome. Shannon, Melanie, thank you for being here and for sharing with us, educating us. And we need to know, we need to know these things that are happening, but also how we can help support to make a difference out there for our residents. So thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
So, Mr. Bertram, I look back to you now for our next piece here, and that's that resolution, correct?
That would be correct. Mr. Chair, if I may.
You may.
So just to recap a little bit, excuse me. Last Tuesday I was here, we discussed Sourcewell Innovation Funding for Health and Human Services and our current contract with NCT, Next Chapter Technologies, for CaseWorks, which is a document management system for health and human services. Currently, as it sits, our contract with CaseWorks, we're in phase 1 implementation as we speak, which is our financial workers and child support workers. Phase 2 within that contract was scheduled for 2027 upon budget approval for 2027. There was some changes in the way Sourcewell was doing their innovation funding this year, which led for an opportunity for us to apply for a $100,000 grant to offset some of the implementation costs of CaseWorks Phase 2 for social services. And so as a part of that grant application, there is a requirement for a resolution from the board showing support for that initiative. And that's kind of where we're at today. I can read this if you'd like. Otherwise, if you had an opportunity to read it, I will skip that, but
I'll make a motion to go ahead with the resolution.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Wincher to support the resolution establishing that funding. Is there a second? Second. There was a second by Commissioner Lemire. Discussion. Commissioner Wincher.
Thank you. Nate, question for you. Now, again, there's gonna be an expiration on this grant, so it could be 27, 26. I know one thing, moving forward, we'll be notified when this is gonna be expiring, like kind of we are now running on the. So again, it's not 100% we'll get this, but it's about 99%. But, so that's just one thing I want to make sure, Mr. Chair, that we are notified again that this grant is expiring in 30 days or 90 days, so that we discuss. That's all I have a concern.
Mr. Bertrand.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Winter. So, application for this grant is due March 27th. I'm assuming we'll hear of award roughly 30 to 45 days after that, whether we're receiving the funds. Historically speaking, the Sourcewell funds then come out in June. That would be used towards the implementation cost of this, in full. And then in 2027, 28, future out years, we'd have to budget that in to HHS as an ongoing software cost. And so, yes, it would be presented to you at that time, each budget cycle essentially.
Very good. Further discussion, Commissioner Moran.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna oppose this. I know we're not even working with phase one yet. I would like to see some results from phase one before we commit to another $100,000 a year for these license fees. So that's all I have to say. I'm gonna oppose.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Lemire.
I know that we plan on doing this for our 27 budget, but with the opportunity to have $100,000 grant from Sourcewell, I think it's our responsibility to move forward with it at this time, prevent, otherwise we'd have to use levy dollars, $100,000 levy dollars towards this same software upgrade. Yeah, I'd like to see if phase one works, but if they don't work, it's not gonna be good, Nate, but I want to think positive that it's gonna work. It's gonna save $2,800 a year labor charges. Plus, we're gonna have more opportunities to work one-on-one with individuals with mental health needs and whatever needs that they have. I'll be supporting this, Mr. Chair, and we'll work on the second year in 27.
And before I go to Commissioner Casper, we also have, well, number one, we did a deep dive preview on this a week ago. We've all had a week to research, ask questions, reach out to staff on this, but we also have the opportunity with this with an opt-out too, correct?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Bertram.
so the way that contract is structured, the opt-out is really around phase two, and it's upon budget approval for 2027. So, the way I see forward, so if the resolution is approved, we receive the dollars, we would look to probably amend that contract to say that we're gonna move forward with phase two in 26. And at that point, everything would be implemented. And so then it would just be the ongoing software costs as part of that contract. And if I just may add a little bit to some of the discussion, I checked with a couple counterparts, there's a couple counties, well, there's whatever, 20 sub counties that don't have caseworks at this point. Two of those that I heard from are looking at adding 3 staff for MAFPA. I also reached out to a couple counties who had recently implemented caseworks. And the ones that I heard back from, what they're doing is essentially kind of what I had proposed for this budget, and what we're looking at in the future is some of those time savings really are being looked at internally. And so what a lot of these counties who have recently implemented with caseworks doing are transitioning staff internally. So such as we're looking at doing an office support staff and moving that to a child protection staff. Some of these other counties are taking a case aid, for example, and moving that to a financial worker. They're taking a CP worker and moving it to a case aid function. And so essentially gives some ability with those efficiency gains to look at pivoting and moving some things around internally, so you're not growing your overall staffing pool. You're able to contain that and work within your own means, and not adding some of those staffing resources. And so, that's where I foresee the benefit of some of this in the future.
Very good. Commissioner Mayor. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need to go to Commissioner Cass.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioner Mayor. Yeah, my question, I think I know the answer to this, Nate, but there's no matching grant or match from the county that goes along with the grant from Sourcewell. Is that correct?
Mr. Chair, Mr. Bertrand, Commissioner Casper. No, there's not any requirement to match. Essentially, with the cost of implementation, we kind of are matching, but that's kind of a side point. No requirement for matching.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Nate, with the new legislation that was passed with auto child placement and issues like that, that were put on counties across the state, will this assist in that function?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Bertram.
Commissioner Lemire, yes, I foresee that helping. It's already kind of started to unroll in 2026, so we're already working in implementation of phase one. We recently had a transition out of the office support team. Again, we're not looking to backfill that position at this time with the plan over 2026 budget to hire child protection social worker instead of that. So some of that transition is already in place because of some of the gains from CaseWorks. And so I would expect those to continue as we look at what requirements are coming from the state from that legislation. And as a side note, I mean, that MAPA CWA or African American Family Preservation Child Welfare Disproportionality Act. I'm getting it down. I mean, there's a lot of things legislatively that are being talked about currently right now. I believe there's been some bills introduced just about who has to do the auditing oversight of it. There's also some bills introduced just about funding for implementing MAPA CWA, which currently there's Hennepin and Ramsey got some initial funds, but there's future legislation that's going forward to try to support other counties as well. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Thank you, Chair.
Further discussion? Gentlemen, we have a motion and a second to support this resolution. Gentlemen, this is a roll call. Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Commissioner Casper. Aye. Commissioner Moran.
Nay.
Commissioner Winchester.
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. There being 4 members in the affirmative and 1 against, the motion prevails. The motion is passed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I will be in touch with updates as we progress.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Nate. Appreciate that. Gentlemen,
We take a break and then.
yeah, I think so we can do that. Let's take about a 5-6 minute break here and we'll come back and tie things together here. Again, and 25 words from you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Gentlemen, we'll call our meeting back to order here from our recess, and the next thing on the agenda is land services. We have Mr. Welly with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Morning, Darren.
And so, Darren, if you'd like to proceed, I think we have a CUP to discuss. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in front is a condition, to consider a conditional use permit for Craig and Lisa Prisabella to establish a storage rental business with the construction of up to two 40-foot by 120-foot buildings, including 3 conditions. And this is located in section 17, Pierce Township. And it was recommended for approval by the planning commission on March 3rd this year. The 3 conditions were to, prior to permitting, the property owner shall submit to Morris County Soil and Water Conservation District and to Land Services a stormwater management plan for review and approval. And then once approved, the plan should be implemented and maintained. Prior to permitting, the property owner shall provide a wetland delineation to Soil and Water and to Land Services for review and approval. And then no outdoor storage associated with the business shall occur.
Wishes of the board, Commissioner Casper.
I would make a motion to approve
We have a motion by Commissioner Casper
with
for-
the conditions.
as part of that would be the acceptance of the 3 conditions. Thank you.
And I'll second with the discussion on one.
And we have a second by Commissioner Wincher, which means we're going to discussion. Commissioner Wincher.
The third, the condition, no outdoor storage associated with the business shop.
So the idea would be no like RVs or boats parked outside of the building, around the building, would be an example. So everything should be with inside the building storage, no outdoor.
All right, good enough, right? Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? Further discussion? Further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion prevails.
So I have, thank you.
Darren, thank you for being here with us. Have a great day.
Yeah, have a great day, Lord.
Gentlemen, Mr. Hennon is here, our county engineer. We have a little bit to address here. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, commissioners. I have a couple items for you this morning. I'm Tony Hennon, Morrison County Engineer, Public Works Director. First item, I'd like to go through our contract 322. This is our paving contract for the year. We had a recent bid letting on this a few weeks ago and had very responsive bidders. 6 bidders were interested in this project. So this is our SAP 646008, or 0496760006, 0492080005, 0492200007, and finally our 0492250017. So a really nice paving spread across the county, as we see there. We have our CASA 76, our CASA 46, and then some of our county road work, our County Road 208, 225, and 220. Really nice contract. Keep going, Matt. You can see a close-up of the rest of the projects there. So there's our different limits. So 46, our 76, our 208. One's our 220, yep. And finally, our 225. We had an engineer's estimate of just over 9.7 million on this project, and 6 different bidders were interested in it and bid for us. We had a variance of one bidder at 14% under, and all the way to one bidder at a little bit over at 1.29% over our bid estimate. So our low bid came in with Anderson Brothers of Brainerd, Minnesota. Their bid came in at $8,280,000. $91,421.63. That was 14% underneath our engineer's estimate. They look at some of the contractors below, very tight bidding with Central Specialties, Knife River, Hawkinson, and then Zavro, all right there. You know, very, very tight bidding between all of them. You know, Anderson has done a lot of work for us in the past, and we'd be happy to work with them. So I'm requesting the board to authorize a resolution to award contract 322 to Anderson Brothers in the amount of $8,291,421.60.
So move with Chair.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lemire, and a second by Commissioner Moran to award contract 322 to Anderson Brothers Construction. Discussion. We had discussion on this at our public works planning meeting, so this is certainly not a surprise. My congratulations, I'll say to you, Tony, and to your staff for the timing of this, the work that you do on the front end and the timing of this, and great bids coming in. A bid of you could look at as a savings of $1.4 million to the county from what we expected this from an engineer's estimate. So very, very favorable to the county. Gentlemen, seeing no further discussion, this will be a roll call. Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Commissioner Moran.
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire.
Aye. Commissioner
Winchell.
Aye.
And the chairman votes aye. All those voting in the affirmative, motion prevails.
Mr. Chair, our second item here is part of that contract. So our engineering staff does a lot of work of soliciting outside funds, and we were awarded a local road improvement program project, which is our CASA 46. So that's an additional $1.5 million of external funds coming into the county. And as part of that contract that we're awarding to Anderson Brothers, we'd like to enter into an agreement with MnDOT to accept these funds and perform that work.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Winchell and a second by Commissioner Casper to accept this local road improvement grant. Discussion. Seeing no further discussion, gentlemen, we'll make this a roll call. Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Commissioner Winchell.
Aye.
Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Commissioner Moran.
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. All those voting in the affirmative, motion prevails.
And then our final item here is another contract. So every year we try to do maintenance striping, and we stripe roughly a third of the county. Striping is one of the largest safety improvements you can make on a county road. So we have a very aggressive program. So we got quote, or we actually had a bid letting for this. Pull up the screen. If not, it's okay. Basically, we're working in the southwest corner of the county this year, and then hitting a couple additional higher volume ADT roads or average daily traffic volumes. For this, we had 3 different bidders, which we were happy to receive. There you go. So that's some of the county roads we'll be doing our maintenance striping on. So this is just freshening up your center lines and your fog lines in those areas. Kind of a zoomed in around town. So if you look at our abstract here, we had a bid letting for this on February 26th, and we had 3 different bidders, and these prices came in, again, very favorable, actually very surprising. But one of the main things I want to highlight is we're really happy to have 3 different bidders on this kind of work. Sometimes we've only had a singular bidder or just 2. So it shows a lot of competition in the striping, which is very good for the county. It drives a lot of those numbers. So we had an engineer's estimate of just over $203,000 for this work. The low bidder, Sir Lions-A-Lot, came in at $153,166.36, and that was 24% underneath our estimate. So we're very happy to see that. I think there's a few different things that happened there. Obviously, fuel came down. recently, so this operation takes a lot of diesel fuel, for them to do the striping. And then additionally, we saw, a little bit of relief in where some of those products come from, so some of the beads come out of Canada. Some of the paint comes out of the southern United States, so I think that helped. And then again, having more bidders, looking at the work definitely keeps people's numbers sharper. So I would, ask the board to authorize a resolution to award contract 2601 to the low bidder, which is Sir Lines a Lot LLC in the sum of $153,166.36.
Which is about $50,000 under our estimate. We have a motion by Commissioner Moran and a second by Commissioner Casper to approve contract 2601. Discussion. Further discussion. Seeing no further discussion. Gentlemen, this is a roll call. Commissioner Moran.
Aye.
Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Commissioner Wincher.
Aye.
The chairman votes aye. That those voting in the affirmative, the motion prevails.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I had. I just wanted to highlight, our engineering staff has done a really nice job with this, and it reflects in some of our bidding. Especially the different contractors that, bid or are interested in our work. So that just really highlights, some of the great work they do. The other portion of this, with those bids coming in lower, is going to give us opportunity to perform additional work. At the TSWAC meeting last Friday, we talked about some other culverts. When we looked at our transportation plan, those were pending because we didn't know if we'd have the funding. So these bids will allow us that opportunity. So hopefully in the near future, we'll get that advertised for, the box culvert out in Buckman on 34, and then cattle crossing over on 19, and maybe a little ancillary culvert work. So again, just really want to highlight some of the things our engineering staff does, and we're very fortunate to have them here for the county.
Great work, Tony, and I'm very happy we've seen these numbers, and we're gonna have a busy summer. We'll hope for corresponding weather and be able to get some things done here again this year. Wish you a great day, and thank you to the crews out there trying to deal with our deposit that we got this morning.
At the 10-day in the ground, there's more snow than snow in the forecast. And
Yeah, it's March.
we'll deal with it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.
Gentlemen, I look to our administrator, Mr. LeBlanc.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just 3 items for the board this morning. The first, speaking of a lot going on, and this closes out unexpectedly, but I can talk out the hand here. A public hearings coming up for Morrison County. We have 3 of them scheduled. The first is March 12th on firearm use this Thursday at 6 p.m. The second is March 31st, renewable energy, which will be heard in conjunction with the Planning Commission Board of Adjustment meeting. And then April 7th will be the tax increment financing, or TIF, public hearing that will be heard here with the county board. I mentioned that I saw that it was published, and I believe the date was perhaps incorrect on the renewable energy. So I just want to provide some clarification on that. And I know that our land services director has already reached out to those to help clarify. So several events coming up in the future, and I just wanted to provide that clarity. No questions. The second item is Initiative Foundation received a mailing from them this week with just a short note in it here that said, "Thank you for coordinating the support from Morrison County. Please extend our appreciation to the commissioners as well. We hope you join us for one of our upcoming 40th anniversary events this year." And they have 4 events scheduled. May 13th, Northern Hollow Winery in Foley. June 10th, Brom Event Center in Brom. September 22nd, Lupulin Brewery in Big Lake. And October 1st, Nature Link Resort in Nisswa. So Initiative Foundation is inviting you to one of their 40th anniversary events, and I'll have that over here if anybody's interested. And then my last item is follow back up from our consent agenda discussion earlier this morning with Commissioner Casper. very valid catch on the warrant report. Our auditor treasurer, Shannon Coyle, came back in here during recess and provided me a couple documents. One of them being the Minnesota Power invoice that we did receive for $15,886.94, which is the amount that is on the warrant. However, the code punched in for the description went in as natural gas and it should have went in as electric. So the invoice and the costing is valid. It was miscoded on the description.
Yeah, Bobby.
Good, yeah, very good.
Bobby,
Yeah,
I'm in a blind squirrel, they said, not one thing.
now you're doing your work and that's a great catch. Thank you.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair. Any questions?
Any questions for our administrator? Gentlemen, I just want to make, one note before, I look to Tabitha here, for our public hearing on Thursday. Because we're having the public, here, in our house, I would ask that we dress in the same respectful attire that we do for our board meeting. So I'll ask that we wear suit and tie or sport coat and tie for Thursday evening. Are you guys all right with that? You don't all jump up, but that's fine. That's how we're going to greet the public. If no one has anything else, I will look to our deputy chief clerk, Tabitha. What dates are we looking for a calendar?
March 15th or March 20th?
March 15th through the 28th. 2 week span there. And Commissioner Casper is going to hit lead off today. Bobby, help us out.
Okay. 15th to 28th. Okay, planning commission on Tuesday, the 17th at 8:30. Also have a AIS meeting with Commissioner Lemire and company at 11:30 that day. And then at 12 o'clock, community development on Country Bank. And then Great River Regional Library that evening at St. Cloud. There's also, and that's at 1700 then, or 5 o'clock. And then 6 o'clock PC BOA that same day, right here. For 19th,
What is that?
that is on the 17th,
Okay.
Tuesday.
Yep.
Yep. And then Thursday, the 19th, Noon Airport. Friday, okay, that's right. Friday, the 20th at 10 o'clock, Mississippi Airway Board out of Walker, Minnesota. And the following week, 24th, that Tuesday, Teams Board at 9 o'clock. And then I'm going to attend AMC leadership training up at Grandview, which would be 25, 26, 27. That's all further I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Casper. Commissioner Winchester?
Okay, and just to put this out there on the 17th, there's 6 on the agenda for the PC BOA, 3 on the PC, 3 on the BOA. So that's gonna be a long one.
It's a busy day.
Yep, and then on the 27th, moving forward, I have soil and water at 8 o'clock. That covers me.
Commissioner Moran?
Wednesday, March 18th, 5 o'clock virtual with Hands of Hope. And Wednesday, March 25th, 1 o'clock at St. Cloud City Hall with Central Minnesota Emergency Services Day.
Good. Thank you, Commissioner Moran. Commissioner Lemire?
18th, public health, 5 o'clock. 25th, HRA, 9 o'clock.
And myself on the 19th, Egg Society at 7 p.m. and on the 26th, Region 5 at 6 p.m. on the 26th. One note, gentlemen, I will be going to training and the MREA annual meeting and be gone next Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to St. Paul. And so Commissioner Casper will lead the discussion at planning session on the 17th. And with that, anything else, any other further business to come before this board at this time? Gentlemen, I will say we are adjourned at 10:46.